Hello everyone, my name is Ben and welcome back to PASSTHEauxCORD, a channel where I always think there's a second D in Shadow. But today, we're finally going to be taking a look at the second album from the last Shadow Puppets called Everything You've Come to Expect. We got a lot of music on this one, so yeah, will be a two-parter for sure. We're sitting at 1 hour and 4 minutes. I was kind of mixed on their first album, but I think it had some good stuff on it. There are a few songs that I do return to from time to time on that, and also sorry if the sun's annoying. I even closed my curtains, and it's just a bright one out there right now. But with all that being said, Aviation is the name of the first track, and I think this is different than the version that we had on the EP before, but either way, gonna give it a listen. Yeah, that's some sounds to kick it off there. That is sounds. Honestly, I can't remember if this is the same thing or not. I'm liking the chorus more than I remember liking it before. I don't know if it's different though. I mean, I know the lyrics are the same for sure. That was probably the most memorable part of this song. Yeah, I do feel like it was a bit different. I liked the strings on that song quite a fair bit, and I found the chorus to be pretty, good in the realm of payoff. You know, it just had a nice smooth flow into that section. You know, from section to section of that track, it definitely did pretty well in that regard. But otherwise, I did kind of think that song is just kind of existing in its own little space. Doesn't do a huge amount for me by any means. It's just kind of there. That's definitely one of the songs that I'd put more in that realm of just being okay from them, but still on the better end of things, I guess. You know, it didn't bore me to death or anything. I feel like it's probably even more similar to the EP version than I remember. So I did technically give thoughts on this once already, but Miracle Aligner is the name of the next track on here. This one's got a very smooth sound and style to it for sure. Again, some very good strings on this track. They've always kind of managed that pretty well there. It's doing a very good job of speeding up and slowing back down. It's very good with that. Like in the instrumental section here, there's a very good smooth flow to it. Apparently Miracle Aligner is a Spider-Man reference. I'm confused on this bio. When I Google that very term, the only thing that comes up is the song itself. I'm not really sure what that means given that part of it, but in context of the song, it seems like someone who's playing the role of love doctor, so to speak, kind of good at the whole relationship advice type of thing going on. That seems like somebody who's acting as an expert in that area of things is what I was getting from that. According to the bio here, Alex and Miles remained as cheeky as ever when asked to explain the song's lyrics for its world premiere on Beats One Radio. Alex said first it was about a yoga instructor, and then Miles instantly contradicted him and said it was about a wrestler. So they kind of left it up to interpretation there as well. In the actual sound and style of it though, I mean, this is very similar to a lot of the stuff that we've seen from the duo at this point, kind of remaining in that orchestral rock leaning tendency of things with a very theatrical mood, vibe, atmosphere to it. It sounds a lot like the work that I've heard from them already. Isn't doing a whole lot of things differently or really that much in the way of standing out that much, but it does all sound like really nice on the ears in general, I guess. But yeah, I guess I'm not blown away by that track, but it's just kind of there. Dracula Teeth is the next one. Very dramatic opening here. Really liking the upbeat vibe here. Dracula Teeth. The bass line in this track is very likable. So is when the chorus comes in. Very bright sound to this one. Dracula Teeth. I really love that horn section. Yeah. Sounds very nice. I think a lot of the appeal with Last Shadow Puppets is the huge amount of variety of instruments that they use. That and Arctic Monkeys fans can't get enough of Alex Turner and need him in every facet of their life. That's a big part of it too. But I think a main thing of the Last Shadow Puppets being an entity on its own as the appeal is the fact that they have like a whole orchestra doing this shit. It seems like you've just got so many other things going on here. I mean, you got a lot of different sounds that you just don't usually hear in rock music, and I guess that makes me wish that they did a little bit more with it, like it was just a little bit more experimental or further reaching, because for how abstract and weird the concept is, it really seems so accessible in comparison. And I guess that's just kind of the problem that I have with really connecting to their music, at least this far into it. I mean, we're pretty much deep in the discography at this point, and yeah, I guess that's kind of wraps up what I end up feeling through their music. It's just that I wish it went a little bit further, because on this track in particular, you know, you had the horns on here going on. You had a lot of very dramatic things going on. I think there was probably a violin in the mix there. There was a lot of stuff that was much more avant-garde, I guess, and that really just gave off the impression to me that this could sound even more big and extravagant than it does. But still, very nice sounding track. That's one in particular that I would come back to and I would revisit, because there was just a really good groove to that track. It was very solid. Lyrically speaking on here, now the connection that I make just because Alex Turner is around is that, you know, there was the track all the way back on the debut Arctic Monkeys record where the comparison to vampires to people was made once before, and in this they're talking about a person having Dracula teeth. I mean, there's a very similar comparison going on, I guess you could say. Acting like this person is some sort of poltergeist haunting someone's life, you know. Obviously, there's much less literally going on of that than the song would have you believe. Mostly metaphorical thing going on here, but somebody who is sucking away your energy, I guess, is the best way to put it, as a person being called a vampire, somebody who's leeching off of you. And a lot of this just seems like there's something about the person that makes the narrator uneasy too. That's certainly a big part of this. Either way, that's my favorite on here so far, so cool track for sure. Track 4, Everything You've Come to Expect. Title track on here, so that's interesting coming up in here already. And now I have realized that I have made a mistake. This entire thing isn't actually an hour long. That was a bit of a miscalculation on my end, because the Aviation EP, as I have just noticed now, is literally just slapped onto the back end of this. Why? That is something I'm unaware of. But regardless, that is the case. It's just here. And I suppose that's why this ended up being the deluxe edition. That's another thing I didn't realize going into this. So now I'm sitting here debating if I do or don't split this into 2 parts, because based on some quick maths, this ends up being like just over 40 minutes. But I think we're just gonna do it anyways. It's all been kind of leading up to this. It would almost be wrong not to. You know, we've done all the Arctic Monkeys albums. We've done all the Last Shadow Puppet stuff. Like, let's just do it. You know what I mean? Let's have the 2-part thing going on here, so tomorrow you guys can come back and have that final conclusion moment. It just only seems right. But regardless, title track, let's go. Ooh, falsetto vocals in this section just give it a totally different feeling. Knew that was gonna hit well when it kind of cut away like that. Again, the instruments going into this are just so diverse. Really good imagery in this pre-chorus section. A fan of these drowned out backing vocals too. Not sure what's making that spinning sound in the back, but... Oh, and the song's done. Okay. Oh, yeah. Really like that one. That one did a lot differently than the other ones, and it kind of did exactly what I was hoping for when I was just talking about the last one, by doing some things that are kind of further reaching and just doing a little bit more, kind of pushing the boundaries a bit more. I mean, you had the weird vocal mixing, kind of sounded muffled or just underwater almost on the chorus, and then you just had this smooth flowing pre-chorus that everything cuts away before it rolls into the chorus. Nice. Very much so like that. Really gives it this climactic feeling, despite this being one of the more subtle and nuanced songs. And now I've realized that maybe I shouldn't have started recording right at sundown, because it's starting to get dark, and we live with it. That's just how things go around here. Either way, that was a really cool song, and definitely seems to be about some relationship problems going on here. But I don't feel like that's the lyrical appeal of this. It doesn't, give off that breakup song vibe. It doesn't give off that impression to me. There's so much in the way of metaphor on here, not in the same way that annoys me usually with Alex Turner, where he just kind of rambles on and says the same thing 20 different ways. It's more descriptiveness going into here. It just, like I was saying on that pre-chorus before, you got so much going on in that. Just a lot of odd things to envision, just kind of fills your mind with certain things going on in the scene that the music's trying to portray in that section. That part of it came across really well. And I'm wondering, with that being the title track, if there's going to be some other more experimental stuff that we run into later on here. The element of surprise is the next one. This gives me an 80s synth pop vibe. It's a style, it's so tricky. Writing sound on this. I like the choppiness of the drumming on here. That bass. Very nice. I like the phrasing there. That's cool. That's a really nice fade out on there. Alright. So, lyrical content on here doesn't necessarily seem to be anything new, anything out of the ordinary for what you usually would, what you'd usually come to expect. I see what has been done here. But regardless, just seems to be describing some like love at first sight scenario with a mysterious woman is kind of the narrative I pick up on, at least. But again, very lavishly explained, very decadent performance and instrumental on here. And, I think that's where the disconnect is for me on some of the Arctic Monkeys material, that the lyrical descriptions end up more along this vein, is that the production value and the instrumentals don't necessarily match it, whereas on here it doesn't seem like it would be fitting to do anything else other than to very eloquently describe everything. So that much really does work on here. Did like the poppiness of this track, I guess. Kind of made it more catchy, more upbeat, very likable in the way that you would like a normal pop song, I guess, if that makes any kind of sense. Regardless, Bad Habits is the last one we're going to look at in part 1 here. And it opens with a sick bass line here. Like that. We're going to go a little bit more funk on this one, maybe. Very animated performance so far. It's that spinning sound again. I really don't know what instrument makes that. You like the distortion going on in the guitar part of the instrumental here. This keeps switching up, it's like dipping into every genre. Maybe the most eccentric one on here so far, and I guess we did see a little bit of branching out in that way on the EP, and maybe I should have expected some more stuff to come along this route, because a lot of those were renditions of other people's songs, so you only had so much creative freedom with it, whereas this, I guess I should have expected them to do a little bit more in the realm of doing some strange things, or out of the ordinary at least, because of how odd and eccentric some of those covers were. But really like that one for that reason. Had a lot of energy, and that's honestly one of the things that keeps me much more engaged with this kind of music, and has been lacking in a lot of their previous stuff, and makes me kind of bored of it at times when it's very lacking in some of this raw energy. This is probably the most rock-centric based, almost punk as well based track that they have out, unless there's more later on the album here. But lyrically kind of sticks to the guns of the same stuff that was on the last one as well. But I did enjoy it for just everything it offered up sonically as well on there. That really did come across well in that way. I feel like the one thing it maybe could have done is just stuck with it for a longer period of time. Like I said, I know before, while I was listening to the song, I did like that switched up portion in there where it dramatically differed. I did think that was pretty cool at the time, but thinking of it as a holistic piece that I'd want to come back to, maybe that would have been a little bit better suited for it if it just stuck with the more rock-centric, punky type refrain and everything. But otherwise, pretty good stuff on that track. So like I said, that's all for part number 1. We are breaking this down into 2, and part 2 will be up tomorrow for your viewing and listening pleasure. If it's already up, it's probably linked right here next to my head, the description, and a pinned comment below if I remember to do all of those things. If not, you know where to find it, I'm sure, and I'm fairly certain I'll remember at least one of them. So that's all I got for you on this one. Drop a like on the video if you did like what you saw today, and subscribe to the channel for more music related content coming your way. Turn on notifications for that same thing as well, and so you can be one of the first people to see part 2. But that is just about gonna wrap it up for this one, and I will see you in the next video.